Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, That Model Railway Guy, and welcome to another exciting video today. This one is hot off the press because the Hornby TT120 Class 50 has just been released. Obviously it's exciting when any loco finally arrives, but with TT it feels even more special since there are so few locomotives available in the scale. Hornby are really starting to ramp things up though. We had the HST arrive a few months ago, now it's the turn of the Class 50, and I believe the Princess Coronation class locos aren't far away either. So let's dive in and take a look at what this loco has to offer. Starting off with some specs for the model, this is Leviathan in the large logo BR Blue livery. As seems to be the standard for the TT models, we have a Next 18 decoder socket in the loco, which gives us individual control of all the various lighting features included on the Class 50. This is also a sound-fitted model too, so we have a pre-fitted HM7000 decoder and speaker. That does of course push up the price slightly. The RRP for the sound version is £222.99, with the non-sound version coming in at £167.99. Of course, if you go to a retailer, you do get a bit of a discount on that, with the sound version costing around £200 and the non-sound version being around £150, so close to a £20 saving there. It's also worth mentioning that if you do go for the pre-fitted sound version like I have, you'll save a bit on the HM7000 decoder as well in comparison to if you bought one separately later on. And of course you don't have to go to the trouble of fitting it and setting up the sound profile too. So those are the general specs for the Class 50, but let's take a look at the model itself. And yeah, usually I'm a steam fan over diesel, but I have to say this loco looks amazing. It's got decent weight to it as well, which you would expect from it being a larger diesel, but there's plenty of space inside for a chunky weight, and so yeah, I can't see this model having any problems pulling long trains or heading up the incline on my TT layout. As I mentioned before, this is Leviathan in the large logo BR Blue livery, and you can see the double arrows printed really nicely on the side of the loco here. We've also got the number printed further along too, and the really tiny info panel there just next to it as well. Yeah, really nice sharp printing all over, and that of course continues onto the nameplates as well, reproduced in red and gold. Like with the HST, we also get a set of etched nameplates for this model too, which is a really nice touch, and it's great to see Hornby starting to include these as standard. Just to finish up the livery then, while the majority of the Class 50 is blue, we do have the yellow cabs at each end, and of course the black surrounds for the windows too. And you might just be able to see a couple of really tiny warning flashes printed in this area too. There's also the grills on the side of the body as well. I think these are just parts of the moulding, but there isn't really much call for separately fitted parts here anyway. Looking along the underframe, the bogies are moulded really nicely with a little bit of detail here and there. Under the main body of the Class 50, there's also some nice detail like the fuel tanks and possibly a generator of some sort too. At the front of the loco, you can see Hornby have captured the face of the Class 50 really well. Up top we have the head code box, and that has two functioning lights inside of it. The cab has an interior too, which can also be lit, and you'll notice on the windows we've got two very tiny wipers, as well as those very fine separately fitted wire handrails just below them. The detail doesn't stop there though, with another 3 working lights below these, more handrails, and also the really fine electrical wires there too, which look amazing considering the small scale of this model. And in case you're wondering, I will be demonstrating all of the lights when we get to the running session later on. On the buffer beam, we've got the buffers, of course, not sprung in TT, which is understandable, and also some steps on the outer edges of these too. In the detail bag, we also get a lot of additional parts to fit onto the buffer beams ourselves. Some really nice parts here, wires and pipes I think, and the bag is resealable too, which is always very convenient. I think the big yellow things are actually snow plows, and these can be clipped into the NEM pocket instead of the front coupling, so it's great to have those included as well. Speaking of the couplings, we do have one of these at each end, and having had some minor issues with the ones on the HSTs, these ones seem to be absolutely fine in comparison. Just to finish up in this area then, I do want to highlight some of the detail around the cab doors, which looks really nice, especially with those handrails on either side picked out in silver. The roof of the Class 50 has a lot going for it as well, with a mixture of both moulded detail and separately fitted parts. I think the bit that will capture most people's attention though is the fan area, which has a really nice grille over the top of it. I presume that must be an etched piece. And I don't know if you can see it, but we do have a representation of the fan itself below this too. Non-functioning of course, but even so it's a really nice detail that Hornby have included. So that is a look at the detail of the Class 50, and I have to say, so far I'm really impressed. Looks aren't everything though, so it'll be interesting to see how this model performs on the layout, and also check out some of those sound and lighting functions. So if you haven't already guessed, I am a really big fan of this Class 50. I think it's another fantastic release from Hornby, and once again it shows that they're taking TT120 really seriously. This isn't just a side project for them, they're putting in a lot of work into these models, and it's great to see more stuff coming through for the scale. In fact, with this, the Class 08 and the HST in the BR Blue livery, you could really start to put together a nice Era 7 style layout there, so it's not all Steam LNER stuff that Hornby are focusing on. The Class 50 is a really solid runner though, nice and smooth, and it's coped with everything I've thrown at it, from inclines to back-to-back points, and even some less than perfect track work in some areas. I love the lighting functions too. Obviously, being a diesel, there's much more scope for including features like this than there is on a steam engine, and it's nice to see that Hornby have taken advantage of that to get as much functionality in as possible. Gone are the days of simply having an on-off switch for all of the lights. Now we have individual control over each set, which is a really welcome feature, and it's so easy to do with the HM7000 app as well. And on that note, the sound is fantastic. It really does bring the model to life, and considering the small size of this loco, the sound is actually pretty powerful. Bear in mind, of course, that everything always sounds better in person. You're listening to it now recorded through a microphone, processed through some editing software, and then compressed when it gets uploaded to YouTube. But yeah, overall, this is a really impressive model from Hornby, and it's great to see TT120 going from strength to strength. I have to admit, I am considering getting some of the blue and grey Mark II coaches to run with this, but yeah, with this and then the Princesses due out next month, it's certainly a very good time to be a TT modeler. Of course, if you like the look of the layout I'm building here, I am doing a whole series where I'm covering the build step by step. There's a few episodes out already with another one due really soon, so yeah, do check that out if you're interested. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel too, and hit that bell icon to get notifications as well. It really does help out, and of course it means you get to see more videos like this too. That's it for today though. Let me know what you think in the comments about the Class 50, but thank you so much for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!